We'll get to the rest of the recaps a little bit later. We have Naz Bohannon from Jacksonville joining us. Naz, this is so exciting. We are so happy that we were able to get you on, and we are so happy for you in this new part of your journey.
I'm excited to be here. I thank you guys.
I mean, Naj, let's first and foremost talk about the journey to getting this point. I mean, basketball, then football. I mean, the decision to make that jump too. What kind of led into that decision after playing basketball primarily throughout your college career?
Um, just I'm a like a person that's real high in faith. So like I just kind of believe that like God has his plans and his way of doing things, and you just sort of follow it and you go along for the ride. But when I was at Youngstown State during my time there, in my true senior year, somebody had came and presented an opportunity for me to potentially play football then. And I played football in high school. I played football growing up. So I wasn't against the opportunity. I just was unsure how to jump on it because I didn't know how it would if it would forego my eligibility or not. So then the opportunity was brought up again with about a month left to go, a month or maybe a month and a half left to go in my basketball season this year at Clemson. And just the way that the opportunity kind of fell like into my lap, it made all the sense to do. And I'm like, hey, God doesn't keep bringing me this if for no reason. So I have to try to attack it.
Before we get to the exciting part and everyone is so excited for Jack, I want to talk about your journey. It's going back to the beginning in Lorraine and playing high school basketball and football, and then choosing to go to YSU for basketball. What made the choice to YSU, and what made you fall in love with the program there and the campus there, and what made that decision so easy for you back when you were recruited?
It was a lot of things, like I early on, if you would have asked me, I probably would have told you I was going to go to school somewhere far away from home and just California, just to get away, try to do something, But having the blessing and like the luxury of being able to choose from a plethora of schools, it was good to go on a couple visits and, take some time and go learn about some places. The crazy part about Youngstown was that like I lived an hour and a half away and I never really knew that there was a school there. Like I kind of knew, but I didn't know anything about the school until I went on my visit. So I played football and I played basketball in high school, and I had the offers in both. And at 18, it was so hard to try to decide. Like I've been playing both forever. Which one do I really want to do? But I was always big on school, and I wanted to be an engineer. So there were schools that I turned down because they didn't have a program that I wanted to do. So I came down to Youngstown when Coach Calhoun got there. He called me as soon as he got the job, maybe an hour after. And one of my friends from home, Thomas Wimbush, played for him at Fairmont State. So I knew who Coach was. I knew who the guys on his staff was. I knew just how genuine of a person he was. And when I got down there, it was kind of, almost like a match made in heaven as far as playing style and the things that he was going to allow me to do. And we foreseen for one another. But the bigger piece was the engineering department. They took me over there for a visit with the chair of the department. They took me in there to see the 3D printing rooms and everything like that. And after I went home, that I knew. I kind of told my dad, like, hey, I'm just going to do it. I had only stayed on campus for like 1 or 2 hours because I already knew I didn't even stay the night. And it kind of turned the coaches off. They didn't know what I was thinking, but.
What kind of advice would you offer to high school level athletes that have aspirations of playing at the college level about making it to that next level, wanting to get recruited, and what kind of work you needed to put in to get to that level?
I would say first and foremost, open your mind. Like open your mind to everything that there is that goes into it. It's so easy to like play the game of comparison and always try to think, well, hey, this guy has that or that guy doesn't have that. Like you have to run your own race first and foremost. Just try to be 1% better at yourself every day. But in doing that, know that nothing comes easy. So like you have to go those extra hours that you're putting in. If you're not doing it, somebody else will. So you have to just try to be the best version of you and understand that everybody again has their own story. It may not be a Division I school or Division II. It might be NAIA, but there's an opportunity, and that's the best thing that anybody can give you in this world is an opportunity.
when you look back at your career at YSU and the 4 years you spent there, what were some of your proudest achievements? Obviously, we know you were 1,000 point scorer and 1,000 rebounds. You know, you did that. What were some of your other proudest achievements at YSU?
Um, I don't know. Just off the court, I just think maybe for what YSU done for me. Like YSU took a young kid who was ignorant, didn't really thought he knew it all, thought he had his whole grip and grasp on life already, and like slowed my life down. And I really learned how to be a man during my time at Youngstown State. I think that was my biggest excerpt just from anything, like outside of all the accomplishments and accolades. Like those come if you play the right way and you do the right thing. For anybody, they can do so. Like I started off there, I had a lot of work to do as a freshman. And I came in with my head high and was like, oh, I think I'm going to do this. Everybody thinks one and done. Like, it doesn't work like that. But I just think it was more so off the court for me, just the experience and being at school there and what it's taught me as an individual.
Talking about just your experience throughout sports, what's the most impactful thing a coach or a teammate has said to you?
And it'll be two things. And I've been told this since the beginning of me ever playing basketball. It was use basketball and don't let basketball use you, and hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So the latter of the two, as far as hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, that's something that just stuck with me and I use in everyday life, no matter what it is. It can be basketball, it can be the classroom, it can just be cornhole or anything else. Like you may not have all the God-given tools that somebody else does, but if you put the work in, you can surpass anybody that you want to surpass. And then as far as just like using the game, I think it's just about appreciating the little things that this sport can do for us. Like if you stay focused on just the playing time or the wins and the losses, you get caught up in the highs and lows of the sport. You miss out on everything that comes from it. Like I've been blessed to be able to go outside this country and play the game. I've been to almost 37 states playing this game. I've sat in rooms that I would never had the opportunity to sit in. I just got to experience so many things that people from back home didn't get to experience simply because of I can excel at a sport.
When you think of your time at YSU and the time obviously at Clemson, being in Youngstown, and we say Youngstown's grit city, and it's one of those cities that you have to work for everything you get. What did the city of Youngstown and living here and kind of being involved in the community kind of teach you about working hard and trying to keep that work ethic up?
I loved it. It was kind of, again, like that was, I didn't get the feel for it. They told me about it when I was there, like for my visit, but during my 4 years, I definitely got to appreciate just the people of the city and everything. It just is something that you embody. It's what you want as a person. People from Youngstown are going to be their hard workers. They're going to be gritty. They're going to get to what they want to because they know how to go through adversity and do everything it is that they want to do. And we tried to our best at times when I was there, make our team resemble what the people of Youngstown were and what they went through. And if we can be like the people of Youngstown, then we will be successful on the court as well. So like that, I think everybody should come and spend some time in Youngstown just to meet some people and learn how genuine they are and understand what it takes.
You mentioned all the states you've gotten to play this sport in and all the experiences and memories you have. Is there a specific game moment that stands out above the rest in your mind right now? Specific game or moment that stands out above the rest, or maybe there's a couple that come to mind, but is there any specific ones that highlight in your mind right off the top?
I mean, off top, I would just say the feeling of beating Wright State at the buzzer. No fans, no anything, but just for us, like when we came in as freshmen, they were the benchmark of what to be in the league or who to beat, how to beat. And we had beat them before, but going down there with the circumstances we had, Darius being down right before we left, whole new team with a lot of freshmen playing, but just going down there and playing how we played, and then for it to happen in the way it did on national television, it was just a surreal moment.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about your time at Clemson too, and being able to finish your basketball career and have that 5th year of eligibility. What made you kind of go towards Clemson, and what were some things about that program that gravitated you towards them?
Um, so we talk about Youngstown being the grit city, and Coach Brownell is his staple is Clemson grit and his passion and perseverance towards a long-term goal. So when I got into the portal, I was looking for a school that I could come right in and I can fit the culture and I would gel well with the guys and just, in my last year, no matter what happened on the court, what could I get out of it as a person and just to truly enjoy the experience. So I didn't get to take a visit because it was still COVID protocols, but getting on the phone and talking with him and talking with the other staff members. And then once I finally did get to go down there, it was kind of like okay, here, I'm here and it feels right. It was the right thing to do because everything he stands for as a coach and what he wants his program to be.
What was one of the biggest things you learned in that transition from Clemson, even though it was just 1 year? What was the biggest thing you learned in that transition from Youngstown to Clemson?
Just about what, like, I would say more so role identity and just how it plays out in sports and how it also plays out in life. Like, I had just came from being the guy to figuring out, okay, how do I find my way for 1 year with a team of guys who's already been here, who's already been jailed, who's done whatever. And it's easy to get caught up in being selfish and always want to think about yourself, but trying to figure out how do I be my best version of me for the greater good or do what I'm supposed to do to fit the piece of the puzzle. And I think that it taught me a lot there, transitioning there. Obviously, like the speed of the game and just how big, athletic this, it's differences that way too. But for me, it was more so about role identity and kind of accepting it and knowing that, like, hey, in life, sometimes you're not always the person that's going to be on the forefront. You may be in the shadow, but you're just as important and vital to the greater cause.
When now we get to talk about where you are now. The Jacksonville Jaguars come knocking to your door, and what kind of things led to this landing spot, and how much did you kind of put into being able to be signed with the Jaguars?
Can you repeat the question one more time? I'm sorry. I was trying to listen to which part to answer.
You're good. You're good. You're here. You're signed by the Jaguars. You said it was a little bit of a process because you were approached at YSU, and then you kind of knew towards the end of the season at Clemson. So I'm wondering what the process was from, getting ready for football and then getting signed by the Jaguars, and what went into that whole process.
Okay, yeah, got you. So I have been real tight with an agent who was a basketball agent for the past couple of years now. And he has a buddy who was a football agent. And, they kind of sent him a profile over and they were like, do you have any guys who fit this type of profile, who will be open to, or you think may have the ability to make a transition into football? So when that opportunity was presented, the agent called me and was like, hey, Naz, would you be open to doing something like this? Like, if you're not, we won't entertain it. But if you are open to it, it works out because the way the timetable is, you will know something by May, which was that rookie mini camp I went to, was the opportunity that presented. He was like, if that opportunity comes and goes, that doesn't shut the door on me potentially getting you something to do with basketball still come August. So when it was spelled to me that way, I'm like, hey, it's a no-brainer. Like, there's no way that you can tell me I have a shot to go try to make an NFL team. And then if not, I go overseas. And if that doesn't work, then I'll use my degree. Like, that's an extreme blessing that people don't get any of those doors sometimes. So once we decided to say, like, hey, that's what we're going to do, like, I'm going to attack it, I'm going to go 2 feet forward. It was a couple mentors I talked to. Marcus Pollard was one. He made the transition prior to it. And we had the same agent. But just understanding the work that it was going to take, I got on a meal plan for 5,600 calories a day to get my weight back up. I got back doing, like, running routes and just working on football technique, footwork, trying to learn schemes and things of that sort again, just trying to prepare myself completely for if an opportunity came. And then the opportunity, Jacksonville called and the opportunity presented itself. And for me, I'm a person that fully understands that, hey, if you're going to open the door for me, I'm completely fine with betting on myself to knock the rest of it in. And I came to the mini camp with my head held high, knowing I was on the tryout and doing whatever else it was. But happy in whatever was going to take place, as long as I knew that I did everything in my power to give myself the best opportunity.
Did it take you a minute to kind of get back into the football mindset since you've been playing basketball for so long?
Yeah. It definitely took me. That first week I was out there, it felt so foreign again. But like, my body was, I can tell I've done it before. So it just took some getting used to. So like by the second week and just me staying consistent with it and trying to go 5 days a week at least, I got more and more comfortable every day. I'm still getting more and more comfortable with just relearning things and, missing that level of college football, the knowledge you can gain and when you really actually learn how to play the game, like everything's moving kind of a mile a minute right now, but I'm learning.
You offered some advice to the high school level athletes, but I want to make it a little bit more personal and just go back and coach yourself. What would Naz Bohannon tell his younger self in high school if you had an opportunity to go back and give yourself a little bit of advice?
I would just tell myself to prepare my mind and be completely ready. Like lose some of that arrogance you had. It's easy to get caught up in the glitz and the glams and everything that people want to say to you or about you, or everybody boosts you up, but like realize that, hey, you can be just another regular guy, or realize that this is a blessing for you to be put in this spot, but understand that it's the work that it's going to take. Me back then, I would sometimes, like, I would tell the truth, I wasn't going to go to the gym a lot. I did, and like I got out of it, but especially for football, like I took for granted what it was to be able to be on the team or what it was to be able to come to practice and things. I would just show up and kind of play because like I knew that I had capabilities that some other people didn't. So like not be ignorant enough to do that and just really appreciate what it is that this sport can do for me and the opportunities that was presented.
Before we let you go, we do this with all of our players that we interview. I want to give you the chance to kind of thank the support system that you have and the people that have been there for you since day one, and the people that you've kind of leaned on, and the people that are there for you now that you're making this transition into the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean the list can go on forever. Like if I name individual names, but I definitely want to thank, exactly that's everybody in my family, everybody from my city, any coach, any trainer, any counselor, teacher, whoever I had. There's a bunch of people that impacted my life, and everybody had a piece in creating Naz Bohannon and helping him get to where he got here. Whether it was just one conversation we had, or you've been somebody who's been integral in my life the entire time. I listened, I opened my ears, I opened my mind, and back then I might not have heard you, but as a 23-year-old adult now, I can respect and appreciate all the things that you've done for me. So just like that, especially my city, like I'm huge on the place that I come from, and just like love the fact that, regardless of whatever it was that happened there or that was put in front of me, I still was able to do this regardless of all of that. And everybody else should be able to do it too, or they can do it. It is possible. So
thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We're so excited to have you on. We wish you the best of luck in your future and everything that you're doing with the Jaguars, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right. I thank you guys for wanting me to be on the show.